Welcome back, everybody. It's time for our final day of the week here for HGC Korea. My name is Wolf. With me is G-Club, and tonight is a very special night. It's MVP Black versus L5. It will not be our first match of the night, but it is going to be one that is coming up very shortly, and I know you're all looking forward to it.
I know. That's the match that everyone has been waiting for this entire phase. Part 2, of course. There was one more in part number 1, but this one matters so much for not just L5 and MVP Black, but also for Tempest, because if L5 loses to Black 3-1, there will be a tiebreak. They tie in every single thing. If Black has a 3-0 over L5, Tempest actually goes up to second place. That's crazy.
Yeah, so, I mean, they would just directly qualify for BlizzCon, so it's very important for the scores to not go that way. And we could have that tiebreaker you're talking about, the 3-1 scoreline. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we get into that match later on. This is an important match for Miracle and Raven in terms of, I think, pride more than anything else.
Yes, especially for Miracle, because they've been struggling. They had some role swaps, and as they're waiting for the playoff, I think it matters a lot more for Miracle. Of course, Raven will have a Crucible that's later on, so playoff, of course, for BlizzCon should matter a lot more.
Yeah. I believe no matter what, I haven't done the numbers on this one yet because Miracle will play against Blossom next week. No matter what, they're in 6th place. Like, they can't go to 7th and they can't go to 5th.
Yes,
whereas
I
Raven,
think so.
Raven is in 7th place no matter what. They can't go to 6th and they can't go to 8th. So, in terms of where we're going to finish this season, I don't think this match really matters for either teams all that much. But again, it's about practicing, preparing for that playoff match. So, I'm sure Miracle will show us some good form today, and they're definitely the favorites. So, definitely a match that could be pretty one-sided. Definitely kind of the warm-up match for tonight, just the hors d'oeuvres for the final course later on.
Just so for all the viewers who just woke up and still in bed watching the stream on the bed with some devices, you know, you can watch the first match and get warmed up, and the second match you will be standing up or maybe jumping up and down when you're watching the match. And
yeah, I mean, it's up to your preference.
However you want to watch the game.
If you're more of a hop, skip, kind of leap around kind of guy, that's okay too. You know, it just depends on the type of person you are. That's totally fine. We don't discriminate here. So MVP Black looking to do it, man. They look to go for the perfect record in HGC.
The only team. They are looking for that 13-0, and with next week, they will also have a final match against Mighty.
Yes.
They may actually have 14-0.
It would be the first time in HGC history for a team to go undefeated in regular season, dropping only 4 maps. So it's certainly a strong possibility that that 14-0 is the final score. It's crazy to think that we've come this far and Black has dropped only 4 maps of 12 match days. That is insane.
Take a look. As you can see, on the left, Raven versus Miracle, as we mentioned, and match number 2. It already looks like I can see the imaginary fire in between MVP Black and L5. It's gonna be a fierce, but I fear that if the snowball starts hard and if anyone from any team starts to tilt, it may just end with a 3-0. I think it's also a very good chance that we'll actually have a 3-0. It may actually go to full series. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, there's always the possibility that Miracle has a bad night tonight, but you know, it's been a bad season for Raven, and sure, it's not been Miracle's brightest and greatest season. In fact, it's actually been historically their worst, going back as far as their first season and season 3 in 2016. But this team that they're facing now has taken very few map wins. They were able to defeat RRR, and that is it. That is as far as it goes for this team.
That is it. And I believe their drafting of all the supports, especially when they have second pick, they're just picking double support from the very beginning, not really choosing DPS or prioritizing some tanks like ETC when it was open, or even Ariel sometimes. I think that's hurting them the most in draft, and starting from the draft, of course, going in game, sometimes they lack global, sometimes they lack in team fights because they could have had a better draft, I think.
Yeah.
But they keep on doing it, and there's no change. Maybe we'll see some change starting from the very early draft. Maybe no more supports.
Maybe not. I think that there's realistically a high chance that this team essentially experiments today, we might see all sorts of crazy picks because that's what this team does when they have nothing to lose. And certainly, I suppose for the fans have a lot to gain if they do the Zeratul Nova comps that we've seen them run in Season 1. So MVP Miracle, I mean, we've always said it. It's been known since the 2016 season where they played in Super League, almost made the Grand Finals. We've known since then this team has always been the shadow of MVP Black. They've always been the, kind of younger, a little bit less experienced team with veteran players. But this is their second to last match day here, and they're facing off against Raven. To take anything less than a 3-0, I think is probably going to be considered by all 5 of these players unacceptable as a result tonight. They want to dominate. They want to continue that momentum going into their match next week against Blossom, which is more important, and then, or more difficult, I should say, and then the playoff match that they will face against Blossom. So they'll face Blossom twice in a row. It's kind of ironic that they will face Blossom next week, and then they'll face them again in the first round of playoffs. So continuing to train, continuing to perform, to have these results here, live in the studio. I think that's what's really important for MVP Miracle. And I think they need to come out with a 3-0 score here, show as little games as possible, and just move on.
Their hyper carry after Crazy moving into a tank role did work once, but failed the other time. And the third time, it was okay sometimes. It did not work perfectly with the draft sometimes. This is the fourth. I think it's about time they show some brightness in their changes. And Crazy Moving, even when there was a Jaina in their team, he was still the tank player. He stuck to his role. I like that kind of move coming out from Miracle. I wish they do the same today and really get it together before the playoffs.
Yep. All right, let's talk about maps. G-Lef, we're headed to Battlefield of Eternity. There is the Dragonshire ban that Raven will toss out here. We do see this every so often from Raven. They're not very happy with the map, not since H82 left the team before Season 2 here, so that's going to be the map ban for them. We will see the standard Braxis ban on the side of Miracle. So Warhead Junction is available, and because it's Raven and they do like to pick maps instead of first pick, I suppose there's a chance we go there. But wouldn't put too much money on that kind of bet. I would just play it safe here as we head into this series. Battlefield of Eternity is the first map.
I would love to see some Warhead Junction action coming out from Miracle. And remember the Lost Vikings tactic along with Cassia, just having the big macro plays, and then it worked both of the times in early game, and then they actually built the snowball on the other side, and they lost the game twice, I believe. And it was both in Warhead Junction, both with the Lost Vikings. That was Miracle, of course, we're talking about. Maybe there's a slight chance they will continue using that once more against Raven and see if it works.
Yeah. So let's jump into this first one, man. I'm excited to see the game plan here for Raven. Is it going to be drafting around the Vala? Is it going to be more focused on something a little bit more lane control based? Those are the questions we don't have answers to just yet. Will we see an Azmodan? Like, you always have to consider the possibility with this team. And these are the kind of drafts that we will get into. I will preface this, okay? If this is your first time watching a Raven game, you're in for a treat, okay? It
Yes.
is going to be a good one. So
And it's not going to be sweet. It will be spicy.
it's going to be, there's going to be definitely a lot of question marks. You're going to see some things you don't understand, and that's okay because sometimes they don't make sense. But these drafts we have seen with triple support, we've seen Nova Zeratul compositions, we've seen tankless compositions. I think we've even seen from Raven once Tassadar solo support. Like, we have seen a lot, okay?
There was a solo support Avatar, and Avatar didn't even go into the shield.
Yeah.
It was Mines, and there was no support for the team once. I don't even know which battleground it was, and they got wrecked. And that's the team. Maybe we were having some issues. I didn't quite catch what was going on.
Yeah, I didn't either, actually. I was just...
Maybe the players just need to get warmed up.
Yeah,
Maybe warm their fingers up before the game starts.
Yeah, could be indeed. So head into BOE. It is Miracle we're talking about here. So Crazy Moving has moved onto the tank position. So basically, we're looking at a new roster, new formed roster. which is sad because we won't be able to see any of that Jaina that Crazy has played in the past, which would make me so happy if he did play it.
Well, Sniper is also a pretty good mage player, and maybe next weekend, if when Kel'Thuzad comes back in, I'm hearing a lot more solo support and double DPS. Maybe Dami will keep on doing his hyper carry along with a mage on the side. I think Kel'Thuzad is pretty strong. You get deleted with one combo.
Yeah.
That's me we're talking about. I get deleted all the time. I walk into a bush and then I'm gone. Like, what happened here?
Yeah, suddenly you just have that shattered Nexus screen and you are gone. So
Man.
Kel'Thuzad very strong, Jaina very strong. I think these heroes that are underappreciated right now will start to, if teams experiment with them a little bit going into playoffs and then BlizzCon, be used in the meta because they're so powerful at bursting down these hyper carries. Like, one of the reasons why people struggle to kill Vala, right, is because you've got the Tastar shields and you've got the heals coming in. Vala's doing consistent damage, so much protection. But if you just get a flanking angle from like a Jaina and Vala instantly dies before she can even be shielded, or if you wait till the shield's gone and you hit her with all the spells, yeah, easier said than done. But if you can burst that DPS, then you win the fight every time. So I think that that's something that will start to happen slowly over time. Unless everything changes, right? Unless a bunch of supports get reworked or something, who knows?
Yeah, it seems like EU especially is shifting the meta a little bit, with Leoric just being on top everywhere along with ETC, but Korea still seems a little bit more away from the main road, picking lots of Sonias. Of course, Lucio does pop out sometimes in other regions, but especially in Korea, they are using so much more because they think the movement speed is very good. Sound barrier, if timed well, is better. They're saying it's better than Sanctification sometimes, so the meta's like shifting away from the main EU road here.
Yeah.
So I wonder where that's gonna go next weekend when Kel'Thuzad comes in, and then I'm pretty sure we'll get a better idea in the playoff. I think that's what we're all looking for.
Yeah, I think so. Well, again, guys, I think we got the update that one of the players couldn't join the lobby for some reason, so we're working that out. And once that's resolved, we will go into the game. But looks like it's almost ready, is what we were just told. So we're going to be jumping into that one pretty soon, guys, to get that draft up and running. It will be... Actually, I don't know who has first ban on this one. Nobody told me, so I guess we'll find out in a second. I was going to like tell you guys that to buy like a few more seconds to like lead into the load into the game, you know, but it didn't go smooth for me. Sorry.
Yeah, not from the beginning, not yet. But once we get into the game, it will be smooth,
it'll all be good,
and clean, and we'll just go clean until MVP Black and L5. That will be dirty.
Well, I think that's going to be the cleanest. I think this one might be the dirty one. All right. Like, these teams can't even get in the lobby, G-Clef. Like, all right. All right. It looks like the lobby is ready, we were told. We're still going to wait a few more seconds, though. There we go. There we go. All right.
Southern Immortals, it is Battlefield. Let's jump in. As it says in the middle, waiting for players.
That's what it always says on my Hero League games. I get really impatient. Especially when I'm first pick, I'm like, oh, my first pick. Sorry, not first pick. If I have ban, I'm like, oh, I want to lock it in right now. Okay, ETC first ban, speaking of, will be first ban to Raven. So this is, or sorry, to Miracles. This is Raven's ban pick.
And Raven does have second rotation pick, which means they have 2 picks. Are they going to do 2 supports again? Oftentimes it was some other support along with a Karazim. Oftentimes not Auriel even when it's open. Uther Karazim. Sometimes Rhaegar Karazim.
Yeah, they like to take the Rhaegar Karazim a lot, which is kind of odd for Korea. Don't really see that all too often.
Okay, Auriel looks better.
Okay, there we go.
Garrosh, for a second, I thought it is possible from Raven. And we're back to normal. ETC Auriel banned away. Just pick Tass for Flex, for Miracle. Of course, that's the easy one.
Yeah.
And if they take Vala, Lunara, see which path Raven chooses to do so, and then you can follow that or lead the draft into your own, is what Miracle is saying with Tastar.
That's very flexible. You're just drafting safely against Raven because you know that they might have some crazy picks here. It would be not out of the realm of possibility, actually. In fact, it feels likely that they grab the double support here because that's what they've been liking to do to start the draft. The Rhaegar Kharazim, Rhaegar Uther, things like that, and then try to choke supports. They already banned Auriel, so it makes sense that they would lead down that direction.
Miracle also already has a Tastar, so maybe it's not as effective, but still taking the top tier supports that Miracle likes to play is a good idea, of course.
They don't know what Miracle would like to run with the Tastar. You have to assume Vala. Okay, this is already consistent with what we expected.
And Monkas?
Monkas. No, Genji.
Ooh.
Okay. Well, that's already a departure away from the norm for this team. So let's see what they want to run with it. Probably won't be solo DPS Genji. This means that Miracle has the ability to grab the Vala Uther, for example, which is very strong. Especially against Genji specifically.
The Miracle can just pick Uther in this rotation or even ban it right after. Of course, against Genji, Lunara was somewhat of a soft counter with the poison coming in. They will pick Greymane before.
Greymane, okay.
Do they want to pick up the support or a tank? Okay, Tyrael comes in.
Well, it is, of course, Dami will likely play this in this new positions that Miracle has. Could be Sniper as well, but just depends on how they want to build him. If they want to do the Dami build, do the Wizened Duelist, they'll probably put Dami on it. If they want to play the Quicksilver Bullets build, they'll probably put Sniper on it, you have to imagine, just considering the different playstyles. He's both a melee and a tank, and when he's more melee focused, Dami plays him. When he's more range focused, Sniper plays him. So that's the idea.
We see a lot of Leeming in the other regions, but not. It used to be in Korea, like first picked, even banned sometimes. First pick material in BOE, but we don't see Leeming at all in any maps in Korea as much because we go into this hyper carry moment. Leeming does give burst, but compared to auto attack sustain, she doesn't do too much with the auto attacks, of course. So I think that's a reason, and also because if she is used, it's really hard to fit in double support along with double tank. We only have 5 slots available for a team, so she's kind of out of Korea at the moment because of those reasons.
Yeah, certainly. A bit tough of a ban here for a Miracle. Arthas, I think, is reasonable.
Oh, I think Cassia is also alright.
Yeah, Cassia is also good. It makes sense for Raven to ban the Cassia because they will run Cassia double DPS, whereas other teams will only run solo DPS Cassia, so that's why you see Cassia banned so often in early double support comps. But why Miracle might ban it against Raven, but would never ban it against a different team in this situation. They would ban the Arthas instead, which they do anyways. So, okay.
It seems like, well, they already have a semi-divey comp along with Tyrael and Greymane. And Raven actually banned Kharazim instead of, I was more expecting a Lucio to come out from what we've seen so far.
Still could see that Lucio come out from Miracle.
Maybe Raven is thinking of picking up their own Lucio here. That could be an idea.
That's definitely a possibility. They prefer the Kharazim usually, but obviously they can't have it anymore. Will it just be the Murid and Lucio? That's a good question to save the 5th DPS flex for. Nope. Gonna take Li Ming.
As we said, haven't seen Li Ming for a while. And there she is.
Yeah, Li Ming very popular on this map a long time ago, but not so much used anymore for the poke. But this works well with Genji.
It does work with Genji, and Muradin, of course, can self-heal with the trait. Rhaegar Ancestral Healing will help Genji when he's diving in, when he's low, especially after the HP nerf. But this feels old. This feels very old to me on the left side.
It's very dive focused as well, to dive in with Murid and Genji. And they have Li Ming for poke, so if they win the early fight, then they win the Immortal by poking safely while kind of keeping the pressure on Miracle.
Yeah, that too, and they need a kill, right?
Yeah.
They need kills to get those resets. That's exactly what they're looking for. But on the other side, they already have Tyrael. Tastar's there. Uther is also open.
Yeah, Tastar is my biggest concern about this because Greymane has a large health pool anyways. The shields come in if they're timed correctly. Killing Greymane will be so difficult.
That's right, and Uther will also give armor to Greymane for sustain. We saw it happening coming out from L5 yesterday.
Okay, they're going to take Malthael for the soul lane because they already have Tyrael. Uther is going to be again there for the extra protection for the armor. And will help Greymane survive through that burst, through the pokes coming through from Genji. It feels like the damage on the Raven side is so all in. It's very flimsy otherwise, so it's really going to need to rely on heavy harassment, heavy dive.
Yes.
CC is coming from Muradin. Dragon Blade not going to be as empowered without the Divine Shield. That is also kind of a denial pick. So I think they'll have to take the Lucio here if they want to empower him to be able to make those Dragon Blades get enough damage done to get those resets.
That's right, and also they have to. There are lots of protective tools for Miracle. Raven has to smartly draw out the Sanctification and make it basically useless, or try to have ganks so the shield is out off timing before the big team fight happens. I think that's a good idea, but on this open battleground, it's not as easy as some. Ooh, Sonya.
Solo support Rhaegar. You know, this isn't actually that big of a departure from the norm. We knew that they needed a solo laner, but what normally happens, because solo supports are no longer meta in Korea, what normally happens in a situation like this is Rhaegar would serve solo laner, and then you would have the secondary support for the 4-man in the bottom lane, but they're going to take the Sonya for solo laning potential. It's going to be difficult against the Malthael. We will have to see some Muradin gank attempts, so which we have seen a lot. It's very common in Korea, so I like this setup here for Raven. I think they have a decent draft. I think Miracle's draft is more modern and is stronger, but Raven could certainly make this happen. Let's find out on BOE for game number 1. In blue, Raven. Darvish on Sonya, Hamlin on Genji, NMX on Li Ming, Diong on Muradin, and Chom on Rhaegar.
And in red, MVP Miracle, Judy on Malthael, Dami on Greymane, Jaehyun on Uther, C-Moving on Tassadar, Sniper on Tyrael.
Already Wolfheart coming out here at level 1 for Greymane.
A small change in Miracle, C-Moving on Tassadar this time instead of Tyrael.
Sniper playing the Tyrael, so a little bit odd here. Either way, this comp is strong. It will be Dami on Greymane as we predicted. If it was going to be the Dami build, it would be Dami himself to run it in this team. So Wolf run for Chom, and everything else is pretty much as standard as you can get. The Psystorm build coming out from Tassadar, etc. for the map. Soul lane is going to be really interesting because what you can do in this matchup is bait the rotation. Like Muradin will come up, and so when you basically make it look like Malthael is going to be able to get so much value, you intentionally let him destroy you in lane, and the Muradin comes up and tries to gank. But this is so obvious, I think at this stage, it doesn't work very well, and Miracle's already denied that rotation of Muradin twice. So it's just not going to happen. Looks like Hamlin gets up here. Is trying to serve a similar purpose, but look at what Judy's doing. He's just simply not going to...
It's easy because he knows there are only 2 lanes, and of course the bottom lane would call out. Genji's missing. I wonder where he is.
Yeah,
probably sitting in that bush.
There's not that much like trickery in Heroes of the Storm compared to like other MOBAs on things like this.
Especially before the camp timing, so...
Yeah. You just never, like, no one's ever gonna, like, oh man, I forgot that he wasn't there. That's just never going to happen. So, it's a smart move. It worked a lot in 2015 in Korea, but in the losing lane matchup, you're very rarely on BOE going to get ganks. Will you get him on Dragonshire? Yes. Will you get him on Cursed Hollow? Yes. But on BOE, it's probably not going to happen.
Very small chance, of course. And Sonya did lose the laning, but even when Genji was there, Tyrael was also up there helping. It seems like they want to defend it first, though. They do have the wave clear for their hand. Judy rotated down instead because he wanted to get closer to the Immortal and also clear the wave a little bit because there was a big rotation of the rest of the Miracle to the top.
It's kind of a weird situation here. That was definitely going to be a win for Dami, but either way, very late rotations for Miracle. They're going to lose this first phase of halftime. And so now Raven has this great position because, again, this is what their comp is designed to do, whether they through picks or through just getting onto the Immortal first. They win the longer fight through the Li Ming pick. And so they just poke safely. And as long as they don't make a mistake, Li Ming will eventually win this war of attrition. She's in such safe positioning right now. NMX is just going to keep tossing those out. Sniper's trying to absorb as much as he can.
I think Judy alone can actually catch up with all the percent damage, so Raven is actually committing all in, diving in, trying to do as much damage as possible to the Immortal. It is going down very quickly, 2.5k left.
They have a numbers advantage here, and Sonya will die, actually, but Li Ming should be able to get the last shots done here. We'll win it with 6.5k shields.
But they may lose more members as Chom also goes down. That's 2 kills going to Miracle.
So Miracle wins the battle. They win in experience for just a moment here, and they will you know, be better set up to defend than Raven will for the attack. But this is still a huge win for Raven. The objective on this map is so important.
Oh my. Orb Li Ming is here, guys.
See, this is not even that weird on this map, right? Even going into the slam here for Sonya, it's not weird on this map because you want to poke the Immortal, you want to do this at safe range, and if you're at max range, you're going to get more damage done. So this is the idea here for Raven, and so far it's working out well for them. I'm pretty happy with it, you know? Like, dominance is going to be better for team fights, sure.
Of course, yes.
Especially because they only have solo support, but
I guess it is. It makes sense if you want to poke from a far distance. You can also use the trait to do more damage often. And dominance, of course, will help when you get the reset. But if you cannot get the reset, you basically never use the talent anyhow. So that's an okay choice, knowing your team, I guess.
Yeah. Eyes in the dark, by the way. Full Dami. Not even any slight variances on that. This is the Tempest 2016 championship build right here. So let's see how the next Immortal fight goes, because I think that Miracle showed that they can do a lot of really good delay, and those Immortal positions allowed Judy to do so much damage while they were diving in. They won the fight. Obviously, had they been in position faster, I think it would have been a different story. Remember, they came to the Immortal late, so we're going to have these forts traded. It looks like Dami does have Wisdom Duelist, so that's going to be a big factor in this game as well. Keep track of his deaths, and we'll probably pop that up, you know, every now and then. And if he finishes it, okay, I'll buy him meat tonight. Put it out there right now. I don't think he'll finish it, but who knows? Maybe I shouldn't have made this bet against Raven.
It's out there already, and they have clips. No going back, Wolf.
I'm not going back. I'll buy him dinner tonight if he completes the stacks. I certainly will. Reminiscent of his Tempest victory, man, against MVP Black on this build. 0 deaths that game. So let's watch him go up here. So we're going to see camps traded. Timing actually looks like Raven did not get the camps. They want to get in position first again to win halftime so they can poke. Again, I like this, but they're not as ahead as they were last time. Like, Miracle's already here. This is not going to work out the same way.
Yeah, Miracle came in just in the right time. Raven wanted to rush this because there's the percent damage on the other side. There's a camp on the other side, so they want to make this work. Rush this down as soon as possible. But nice timing for Miracle to come back and defend the Immortal. And Judy will slowly do the percent damage and try to burn this Immortal down.
Okay, halftime 1. Now, they don't have as much of a lead as they did last time. Let's see where these land. Okay, going to have to be the invade here for Miracle. But this means that this is the best possible position for Miracle, because it means that Li Ming can't really poke. She has to go to the other side in order to do so, so getting into the right position is most difficult in these positions. It's such a win for the Miracle composition.
But they are pushing in right now because Sonya went up top to clear the camp, but she's joining the team fight now. Miracle needs to realize this and maybe rush back a little. Sonya jumps into Dami, doing tons of damage, and as Dami does not go back, he wants to do as much damage as possible, as he is basically the only DPS right now, along with Judy.
Yeah, but they win it. Raven just unfortunately just could not poke anymore. And their comp can be really good at dive, but it's mostly after 10. And then in late game, if we go there, it's really good there because you'll have Muradin stuns his landing stun off his Dwarf Toss, and that is going to be a great engagement tool to try to burst down Dami here. His hyper carry, of course, for Miracle. It's going to put level 10 on the board faster for Miracle with this Immortal coming across. And the Soul Lane has already won. Not much that Sonya can do up there. So this is a huge win for Miracle. They're pushing their way towards this this first victory here right now, right? I mean, they are massively ahead now. They lost the first Immortal, but this one is going to be so much more effective than Ravens. Go for the throat.
Judy is still up there, so maybe they will not dive in all the way unless Raven overextends a little bit. It seems like Raven is backing off at the perfect timing, just poking in and out a little bit.
Okay, level 10 almost here. Unless Sonya goes leap, though, and she's not even here for the fight anyways, it's not going to be a huge turning point for Raven. This will allow them to defend easier. Just going to take Wrath of the Berserker here is Sonya. Not going to do anything crazy. They do survive with the keep wall intact. They're very patient there. That's actually how you want to do it. RRR definitely could have taken a page out of Raven's book yesterday for their defense attempts. This is definitely the cleaner way to do it. You always want to sit back, poke, especially when you have a comp that's so good at Siege with Li Ming. Sit back and just wait, because the scaling is not good enough at this stage to kill the keep wall. You will just eventually defend. But if you lose members, Miracle could win the game. They could get the keep. So those are things that you got to be conservative against.
They need to be defensive sometimes. And I think Raven, because there are lots of dive on the other side, Li Ming took wave with force. I think that's maybe the only kind of unusual one, I would say.
Yeah, it's not even that unusual, but it's like slightly unusual.
Yeah, but once Li Ming gets an upgrade, the Repulsion would actually throw Martel away when he dives in, so it's a really good tool later on.
If used correctly, it's very strong against
Can
Judy
they get
here.
to 20? Diong's about to die. Has to pop the Ancestral, also used on Diong.
He's just eating so much damage from Malthael. The percentage damage is destroying him. Rhaegar is in trouble as well. High health support like that, not going to last very long. That's going to be 2 more stacks for Dami on Wizened. I think he's just got the 2. But yeah, I mean, they didn't lose any experience while they were defending because they sent Sonya top immediately, so they are only a level down now despite the 4 against him. Yeah, he's got the 2. So, I wonder if the Marine made a bet too. He's so funny. I'm like, oh, I guess you can pay for it, Marine. So now the situation here is going to be level 13 to 11. They have no forts, but if they can win just 1 Immortal, they'll get the bottom fort like easily soon. They'll get the top fort from the Immortal at this scaling, and then they can actually take a lead in experience because of the comeback mechanics in Heroes of the Storm. So this is actually a good opportunity, even though they're going to fight a talent tier down, for Raven to come back.
If they take the Immortal, that's why Miracle's going all the way in. Dami's doing tons of damage. Darvis does not survive, and Genji's the first one to fall. Sonya dies right after. Oh my goodness.
Judy.
That's all because there was no Avatar. Diong had to go away, and there was no Ancestral, so Genji died from the beginning.
Yeah.
Snowballs, snowballs.
Judy just soloed Hamlin, and now it's just going to be a free halftime phase. 10 seconds till Genji gets back, and sure, they will be able to come back to contest the last part of this. But they don't have the lead they needed early to poke and chip down the Immortal. They cannot win this Immortal phase, period. And this is going to go directly to the keep wall. Probably the top wall, I imagine. So they could just try to burn down the health pool. And I think that'd probably be the better option, just use Li Ming to burn that down at range, because trying to win this fight is a losing battle no matter what, I think, at this stage.
Came back.
Good stuns coming through.
Shum taking some damage, but here comes Darvish into the zone.
Sank.
Great sanctification. Ancestral does not connect onto Sonya, and this will be a white Dragon Blade trying to do something, but it's doing no damage after all.
Yep. And now Hamlin's going to die again. This time the 3rd to die in this fight.
Oh man, I know who's supposed to be worried right now. It's you, Wolf.
I know, we're getting closer. We're getting closer, Mao. 7 now. 7 stacks. It's certainly a possibility he gets at this game. All right, so 20k shields. Not sure if he'll be able to get the remainder of the kills required to finish the quest before this Immortal ends the game, but it's not the highest scaling. We're only 12 minutes in, and you know the keep wall is still intact at the top lane. Raven has good siege. If they play safely, they may just simply be able to survive here. There's a small chance, it's the smallest, they have a wave here too. There's a small chance that they could actually defend the keep. It's a possibility.
It's really hard for Raven, especially for Chum. Which target do I have to heal? Which target do I have to give Ancestral? Because Miracle can burst multiple targets at once, and you can only heal and Ancestral 1 target each.
Yeah, and you know, Dami's got really good siege as well, and he's obviously much stronger than he even should be at scaled in this game with all the Wisdom Duelist stacks he has. There's just no way they can realistically try to win a fight to save this keep. It's going to go down. They're just trying to poke. They're just going to accept that they're losing this keep, but they're not going to hard engage. DeYoung needs to be careful about going this deep in. He is trying to kill Judy here, but
Hamlin does not even have Dragon Blade for 15 more seconds.
And now Avatar has to be popped. This could actually be the end of the game here. Enemax in the wrong
out
place.
Of the fight. Ancestral will not connect onto the DPS onto the other side.
Dami with Wisdom Duelist stacks galore here. Had the Divine Shield. Chom on the run. Looks like he is going to get out alive. Darvish just trying to do what he can, but is mostly ignored. Sank with the commitment here. The Immortal will live, and it looks like this will be a 12-1. There's the dead Uther.
That's the completed
stacks. I guess I got to buy him some dinner here.
I guess Rip Wolf, but Dami wins tonight regardless of what happens. But that's 1-0 already.
They got the kill there in the end. I didn't see who died. It was Uther who died. They got the kills, so that means not a perfect game, but it nearly was. And someone text Dami and tell him I've got
good news for you.
Good news for him tonight.
Dami probably doesn't even know what's going on.
He doesn't know. Like he definitely doesn't know, and probably anyone who knows him is not watching the English broadcast, and maybe like Rally Jaffa will text him or something. But I owe him a meal. If he wants it tonight, man, I gotta go with my promise. Got to do it. So
yeah, that was a clean game. It was not as messy as we thought, as Miracle just topping over with Dami and 3 DPS Li Ming, Genji, and Sonya did bring a lot of damage, and bursting down the Immortal, we could see the numbers going down. It was pretty powerful. It was lots of burst and it was quick. But other than that, their team fight with just solo Rehgar seems to be just, for Korea especially, with their teamwork, it couldn't really focus one target for the healing. It was tough for Raven.
Yeah, it really was. And I mean, they had their first Immortal went according to plan because Miracle didn't rotate in quickly enough, so they won the first part. Then they used Li Ming to, with the orb build that she chose, poke at range, was safely able to do so, even though Sniper was trying as best on the Tyrael to block those orbs. Couldn't block everything, so eventually they won that first Immortal. But beyond that, it was just too difficult to actually continue to win those Immortal fights when they kept losing the first ones. So yeah, I mean, this is not as impressive, I would say, as Sign's Tracer run, but this is, you know, full Wisdom Duelist stacks, very much domination coming out from Dami. And it's the kind of domination you expect from the guy who made this build, popularized it, and...
Yep. And also, if you have Tassler on your team, of course, the shield will help you. So basically, Raven were looking for resets. They got no resets after all, and I feel like maybe they needed to switch their plan in the middle, because there was first pick Tassler. You had a lot of time, a lot of thinking to do before you make that strategy come true. I fear that if Raven does not have anything else, any other plans prepared against Miracle tonight, it may just be 3-0.
Could be. Feels that way after watching Game 1, nearly a perfect